Right, what are we doing? Really, I wanted to get the sound system going, and honestly, your dad's killing me. Really, honestly, we were going to have Tom talk about the rig, and we were going to play with mics and compression and all this stuff, and God bless him, he had a family emergency he had to run off to. He had to run back to Las Vegas. So Tom Abraham, for those of you guys that don't know, is kind of like this world-renowned sound man. He mixed, I met him when he was working for Keith Urban, but he mixed Guns N' Roses back in the day, and Marilyn Manson, and a lot of big heavy bands, Garbage, big huge bands in the 90s and 2000s, and he's kind of one of the go-to guys for that giant loud rock show. And you don't have to stop, John. I'm just not going to read them out loud. It's okay. I'm still enjoying them. And it's so Tom has a amazing Guns N' Urban, great band name. Yeah, I like that. This guy has forgotten more about live sound and moving 130 decibels of air in an arena than most people know. And so a couple of weeks ago on the show, I jokingly said, hey, anybody got an analog mixer they'd want to donate to the show? My phone lights up immediately. It's Tom, who's, also a 65 customer. He goes, man, I got a garage full of stuff. I've been on the road for 30 years. I'll just drive over. So he drove over yesterday. We were here till midnight trying all sorts of different setups and getting it working. And he does such clean work, and everything's cable tied and loomed, and just amazing that it looks like not much went on here. But we actually worked here from 4 o'clock until midnight last night. And we did a sound check that was great. And then I had... we had some other technical issues that kept me from getting set up and promoting the show on everywhere and blah, 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 which turns out to be okay since Tom can't hang around. So anyway, Frank showed up with his giant pedal board, and
I just happened to have it with me.
He keeps it in his back pocket. And we got the whiskey here. The little whiskey is back on the bench, not 100% operational. I might be able to, we could try it. But I figure as long as we got the whiskey right here.
I'll be in the next room.
I also have the producer right here.
In case it catches fire or something.
In case it catches fire. Yeah. Oh, that makes me feel good.
I'll be in the car.
Yeah.
I'll be watching it on the phone in the car.
Frank thinks my amps will catch on fire?
No, you just said it was because it's being worked on. You never know if everything's put back together. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, well, it'll blow fuses if something's wrong. Right. Yeah. But this old pedal board, I just had it in the car. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I have the Producer 6L here, too, and I also have little Elvis. So we're just going to kind of improv the show, and I had a light blow out, and the thing didn't work right, and again with the
it's always something.
So anyway, what do you think of the new sound? Does it sound better to you? Where I should be in true stereo now. Got 2 mics on the cabinet, ribbon mic on the right, dynamic mic on the left. What amp have we been hearing? This is the whiskey.
Yes, but very quiet. I'm not.
Yeah, he's got his guitar almost off. There you go. So what's with that Marshall in the back? It's got to be vintage. Yeah, it's one of Tone Merchant's Marshalls. It looks to be... It's modded. So it's a Mark II. So I'm guessing mid to late 70s Mark II. Because the 4th input jack has been turned into another gain knob. So. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, you guys want to have Frank do his thing for a few minutes?
I have no things that I do.
You do a thing. You were going into that beboppy jazz phrasing thing that you do really well. That
what?
was
Fake jazz?
No, but you were doing like, not jazz, but you were doing like blues licks, but you had that real swing phrasing to it. That was great.
When?
I love that. When we first started playing.
When I was playing blues licks when you couldn't get camera to work?
Yes.
Accompanying the mood of the room.
But you're doing a lot of syncopated.
So not the slow stuff?
No, you can, the medium stuff.
I don't know.
Love to hear the different gains from JTM Land on up. Does he take requests? Yes, he does.
Yeah, I don't know any, but you can say whatever you want.
Frank does hardly know any songs, which is weird. Deep fat fry on the whiskey. So the gain right now is on 6.
Whatever happened, make sure you're not doing that.
Play some Motown.
Oh,
Or some Swahili nose flute bongra fusion. Okay.
sure, yeah, I got that.
Why so simple, Hoss? Anyway, does Frank know any, like, rock?
From whatever.
Hey! Dan fakes requests. Awesome. Play
What's a
that
great
funky music, white boy.
You know what's great?
Oh,
this
gosh.
one. Yeah, it's up there. Thank you. That one?
That's, yeah.
Hot chocolate or something. Everyone's a winner.
Right, but it's, the band is,
It's hot. Is it hot chocolate?
is it, no, it's not hot chocolate.
Oh yeah.
Um,
With the octave pedal.
October, yeah. Which one is it?
That one's a DOD one.
DOD October. No, it's
Yeah.
it's like Tavares or something.
What?
Yeah, it's the same band that did Soulfinger.
Let me see. I'll find out.
You want to see Frank play with his pedal board now?
Sure, we can do that.
Yeah, they can see you.
All right.
Not with
Kind of.
ear in the dark, but they can get the idea. There's just no light over there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a DOD that you don't even see because I have it underneath the board.
There's not enough space.
There's no room
Yeah,
left
I know,
on the
I'm out of
board.
room,
That's like
so-
3 feet by 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I have it under. You
So
know,
I turned your mic down there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless you want it up here. Is it
Well, I
cable
was
range?
thinking we could cut down the room noise a little bit.
I agree. You're right.
So I can.
So you can narrate what I'm doing.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, how do you do on the whiskey with?
So the gain now is down on 2.5 or 3.
Super overdrive. And then my buddy Rick, or sorry,
Timmy pedal.
Yeah, Paul Cochran.
Yeah, it's a great pedal.
Yeah. Nice one.
That's a very good one.
Clarksdale Overdrive from Wampler. That's a Wampler's like tube screamerish thing with a 3-man EQ on it.
What's it called? The Wampler pedal?
Clarksdale.
Clarksdale from Wampler.
Yeah. He's got this 30-something pedal,
30-something.
which is like
Hissy.
it's his Voxy thing.
Oh, yeah.
So the hissiness is the top.
A top boost, right?
Yeah, but
right.
it works, you know. It's a boost, which
Because the first one wasn't a boost.
yeah,
It's a boost.
That was just the effect
it's a
on.
pre-gain boost, but so. Boost actually works with a use that boost to kick. Pinnacle is usually something that goes into cleaner amp because it's like a sort of that Van Halen-ish thing.
Flip you over to the clean channel. No, other switch. Other switch. There you go. That's it.
Here's that 37 clean. So like without it.
Which pedal was that?
That was at 30-something.
That's the 30-something. Okay.
Can kind of, you know, it'll try to vox up your clean channel.
I've got a full-tone Fat Boost 3 which kind of does something similar. It's basically you get a great clean sound, so just make this better.
Yeah.
That's what it does.
Yeah, and I have it in there's he's got his 30 and 15 setting. So like a 15 watter or 30.
Yeah, AC 30, AC 15.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
headroom drops when you throw it to 15. I have it up at 30, so there's more clean headroom. you know.
Right.
What else do I do? Here's a. Oh, this is a new purchase of mine. For
Oh.
cheap. There was a Nobles distortion special plus noise gate.
Man, the guys in Nashville love the Nobles.
They do.
pedals.
They
Yeah.
do. Yeah. So the only reason I got this one is because it had a noise gate on it.
Right.
And it's probably better on the YouTube. It had a gate on it, and I knew I could get in there and mod it.
I could mess it up.
Yeah, yeah. And then the noise gate had an LED inside the unit that told you when it was open or closed. So
inside.
well, because it probably is part of the circuit. When I pulled it, it didn't gate. So there's something where the current's passing through it, you know?
If there's enough current to light up the LED,
Yeah,
then
so
it passes.
of course I brought that LED up to the top of the pedal.
Right.
So now you can see when it's...
Oh, yeah.
Sounds pretty good. Yeah.
Quiet noise gate, you know?
Right.
Yeah, it's got a 3-band EQ. It's just it's a goof off pedal, you know? If I need a gate on there, I got one. So that's that.
Still a
That sounds pretty darn
Yeah.
good,
Yeah,
actually.
still in the night. Right? Something like that, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think it's C to B, isn't it?
That would be C to B. Right?
Sing it.
It's
Sing
okay.
it, Frank.
I don't know the words.
Sing it. Come on, sing it.
That's all I got.
I saw that it went
I told
last
Tom I'm good in short bursts. That's all I got. You know.
Hoss Thompson reminds me of Mark Bolan when he was using H&H. That's so funny. Our good friend Tracy Norton loves H&H amps.
All right. Boss dynamic filter. Ready? It's got the octave on it too. So it's an envelope filter.
Right.
But there's a setting for it to be backwards.
Right.
So the harder you hit, the more the watt is down.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
I love that.
Hit that distortion special with that one. Yeah. What else do I got? I've got so the delay. Anybody got a delay that has a loop in it? So
Now I got a loop with a delay in it.
that's true. We have both today.
That's right. You can prick your finger, but you can't. Never mind.
So if you have a delay with a loop, you can put a volume pedal in it to control the amount of the delay.
Oh
year.
yeah.
I've seen that.
So right, so
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
gonna bring it up. Except this also happens to be one of those really crappy DoD volume / wah pedals.
Oh.
So if I want, I push the button and it's a wah on just the delay.
Oh right.
Oh, delayed signal, not the.
Yeah.
Not the straight.
Yeah.
Right. I like that. That's very cool.
So yeah, if you're trying to make some textures, then you're able to sweep it. It's not jamming with the original signal.
That's cool. That's really cool.
I like the idea of affecting the wet and not the dry signal.
Yeah.
I've got a T-Rex pedal, and there's one right there that's got a modulation on the wet signal and the dry. So you can affect how much that comes up and how much you mix it in.
Right, as it's trailing
So
off.
it gives that real sort of texture that sits.
Frank knows all the good stuff, man.
Well, on a shoestring budget, I know how to make it out of garbage.
KMX Rock says, you know, guys, Frank is in Seymour Duncan's band. That's right.
That's true. Seymour joins the band that I play in. I would say that's a better way.
Oh
to put
right.
it.
So
Oh, he's in your band.
No, I don't. Mean that. What I mean is,
Oh, I understand. I think we get it.
What I mean is, if he took the time to assemble a legit band of his
Right.
own, I'd be lucky enough to, that he returned my calls.
Right.
Okay, so the fact is, some other guy has a band.
Right.
He works at Seymour Duncan. But, yes.
And Seymour's really fun to play with.
That's the band that Seymour plays with.
I've had the luxury of playing with him twice.
Yeah.
And it was like NAMM parties. He came and played at our NAMM party. And it's a really funny thing because it was our party in Nashville. There's Tom Bukovac, Vince Gill, Jed Hughes, and Seymour Duncan playing guitar. And so I'd been doing NAMM all day long, hadn't eaten anything. I'm in Tennessee, right? My friends go, "Hey, Dan's here. Let me buy you a drink." And I go, "Well, I'm in Tennessee. I better have some bourbon, right?" So they pour me this like 3 fingers in a big glass of Maker's Mark or something. And I'm like, no food in my stomach, nothing. I've been working the NAMM show all day. I just kill it. And then like 4 other people go, "Yeah, get him one for me too." And I'm like, "Guys, no, okay." You can't refuse when you're in Tennessee, right? They'll get offended. So I slam all the stuff, and we're having our NAMM party, and there's Vince Gill and Seymour Duncan and Tom Bukovac and Jed Hughes, who are all just masterful guitar players. And like Vince Gill sings the George Jones song, Bartender Blues, and like has the whole house crying. And just everyone losing their mind. And I'm back there just barely standing up, right? Trying to eat like some French fries or something. I'm just I'm exhausted. And then Jed goes, "Yeah, come on up here, mate." And I'm like, you can see me on the video. It's on YouTube. You can see me on the video going, "No way." No way. And so I got up and I took Bukovac's guitar and I got to play with Vince Gill and Seymour and Jed. And I forgot what we played, but Seymour just lit it up.
No surprise you forgot.
Oh, it was like 4 years ago or something, but it was just some simple, rock and 3-chord song. And we all took turns taking solos, and so, Seymour takes a beautiful legato musical solo, and Jed rips, and Vince Gill does something really beautiful and musical and sweet, and I go blink bonk blank ding dong beat ding dang ding dong, and I was you can see me, I'm just stumbling drunk, and because I'm not much of a drinker, and yeah, it was bad. Yeah, well, I was just exhausted. Like NAMM, you're on your feet, 10 hours. "Hey, how you doing?" And you're playing and your ears are fried and your feet hurt and your back hurts and, and I was no food in my stomach all day because I couldn't eat. And it's immortalized forever on YouTube. There's another one like that, too, with Rodney Crowell. I got up and played with Jed and Rodney Crowell. Same thing. They're like, "Get on." I'm like, "No, I can't do it. I've already blown it with Vince Gill, who's my customer."
It just means you have to release an album so everyone knows.
Yeah, exactly. It's called Dan Shreds.
You should go and put in the comments like, "This is a funny Dan Shreds."
Yeah, this is Dan Shreds.
Trying to make off like somebody's over.
It's like those Shreds videos online. If you just if you go on YouTube and do 65 amps party Nashville, you'll run into it because there's about 20 videos from that party up there. And there's the best one though, really, in all seriousness, go see Vince Gill doing Bartender Blues. It's either going to be under 65 amps or under Duesenberg because we split the party, Nathan and I, from Duesenberg. And it was so funny because I'm there with like all my LA rock buddies show up, and then Vince Gill gets up. They didn't even know who he was, and he sings Bartender Blues, which I don't know if you know, it's a George Jones song that James Taylor wrote. And and the way he sang it was just, everyone in the room was just sitting there going, "Oh my God," and all my LA rock buddies were like, "Who's that guy?" "Yeah, that guy sounds great." I'm like, "Dude, it's Vince Gill. You don't know Vince? Oh, that's Vince Gill. I'd heard the name, but I didn't know what he looked like, And yeah, he was incredible. So if you can find that link, I can find it here while we're on the show, while Frank is playing. It's, I'm just a bartender, and I don't like my work, but I don't mind the money at all. It's a great tune.
Everyone's Googling that and not watching.
You found it, Dave? Post the link here for us. You found the one of me stumbling drunk, or you found the one of Vince Gill? I felt so bad. I did that first drink, and man, 30 seconds later, I was going, woo, this isn't going to work out well. You know, like, yeah. It just went
straight to your,
yeah.
your lower intestine.
It just, I could have just poured it right into my brain. Yeah. You know, like, just went, you know, like, it would have been fine. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you found Vince. Oh, good. You found your singing vehicle, Dan. That was great. Oh, I can sing me some country music. Okay, here it is. I don't have speakers hooked up, but you guys watch that video and listen to Vince Gill. It's just amazing. He's playing through a London on that. He's playing a 65 London on that. He does a great solo, and it's just, we were all just, because everybody's rocking out on this party, and Vince, of course, he just turns it all the way down. And it was the mellowest, you know, it's a country tune, it's in 3, and he just sings the pants off of it. It was so good. We were all just like, you're the master, Vince. It was just incredible. All right, what do you want to hear Frank do? Yeah, a few more looks like Chris Squire. Oh, they're all watching the video now. Yeah, that's when Seymour had his Chris Squire hair. So what's fun here is we're showing you that, like, Frank's running what Eric Johnson would call a large pedal board, or the Edge. Can't really pick on someone whose first name is but and through the loop, and you see how it's working. Like it's the same loop that'll be in the Little Whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got like
that we license. Oh, go ahead. You know, I got to clear something up. I've been misspeaking about the loop. Dave Friedman turned me on to the loop, but the guy who designed it was actually a guy named Steve Miller in Detroit. So, Steve, I apologize. That was kind of ignorance on my part. Dave uses it. Dave turned me on to it. Dave arranged the payment for the license, so I misspoke and said that I was licensing it from Dave. That's incorrect. It's a gentleman named Steve Miller in Detroit. And you can contact him and buy the loop yourself if you need it for an amp. So that was my fault. Editorial retraction there.
It's kind of like when you say, like, when I turned you out to the Chicago restaurant, Taste Chicago.
Yeah, I'd been there 20 times.
Right,
Yeah.
and then everyone's like, you know, Frank's Chicago restaurant. You know,
That's right.
Hey, I don't.
That's
I don't
right.
own it, but you know.
Yeah.
I'm the reason that you're tasting delicious pizza.
Actually, Frank invented Chicago food.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That's all. We just call it Frank food. Dave had somewhat little design in the whiskey, yeah. I don't know if you remember the story, Itchy, but, you know, we're building our amps in the same place now. So I get to hear his amps all the time. And I'm not a master volume guy at all, but I really like the way Dave does master volumes. So we're in the same building, and I kept going, man, I'd love to take one of your amps and voice it like mine, use my components and stuff. And he was very complimentary about my clean sounds, what he calls clean sound, what you guys would call crunch rhythm, but he calls that clean. And he's like, I can never get my lower gain stuff to sound that good, you know. And so we just kind of started goofing off. And so the whiskey is, you know, kind of like, it's a 2203 circuit, but we voiced it with all the 65 parts. So it's a shameless ripoff of a Marshall, like every high gain amp is. Every high gain amp is a shameless ripoff of a Marshall. And then Dave's enjoying that video. Yeah, Vince's voice is chilling, isn't it? How good it is. But And then he did what he does to his master volumes, which is beyond me. I don't know what it is. And then I changed a bunch of other stuff, and we came up with this amp that's the whiskey. So I'm not sure the Edge can operate as rig without a tech. Based on it might get loud. Yeah, nobody has a rig that big that they operate themselves. He's got shelves of pedals. Yeah. And they're all in series.
Yeah.
And he doesn't use an effects loop.
We've said this before. It's all about the loops, right?
Right.
And you can turn that back up. Yeah, it's this board is mostly loops. I have like 4,
Yeah, you got that like silver
5,
thing, right?
6, 7. In total, there's 7 loops on that board, front to back. So one of them is kind of
Why
a
so
global,
few?
One of them is kind of a global loop that just gets rid of the board.
Yeah.
For power outage, whatever.
Right.
If I have to
Short out.
If I have to
Yeah.
dump the board, I can dump the board.
Right.
The other one is loops in that octave pedal because those cheap octave pedals sound terrible at bypassed.
Yeah, is that so you
You
can just
know.
keep a few things in between the guitar and the amp?
Yeah.
You can keep the
totally.
signal path efficient as possible.
Yeah, it's the signal. What I did this time, I just rewired the board like a month ago.
Firebird Bob, I'll answer your question in a minute. It's a good question.
All right.
Go ahead. Keep
So what I just did this a month ago or so, and what I did differently this time is I had these loops, so I started putting like 2 pedals in a loop. No, like ganged up ones where I knew I wouldn't have them both on at once or whatever. So if you know you're gonna go for a song and you want that thing, you just pre-turn that, make sure that's the one that's on, and then you can hit the loop, right? For the octave thing, I have the octave down below, so I can never turn that off. But that dynamic filter, that reverse wah thing, that's in that loop too. So I'm either turning on that wacky sound or turning it off. And when it's off, it's out of the signal. Another trick for all those of you considering an analog octave pedal, which are amazing and better than digital octave pedals with latency.
Yes.
They respond well to more gain up front, so that particular loop has a little boosty buff in there. So I'm hitting that octave pedal with like another 10 dB, and it makes the octave track better. That's part of it. If you just bought that cheap
So, Frank,
pedal,
there's a lot of
it
guys
wouldn't track
asking
as well.
about looping here.
Yeah.
Whose loop system? I think you designed it, right?
Oh, I just made loops. Yeah, it's just a 3-pole
Right.
pedal in and out. There's no magic to that at all.
D-
Bradshaw does something probably a little bit better, which is to use momentary switches and trigger like relays.
Right.
So that signal path is really shorter, and it's just going right in and out. For me, I'm actually going through the loops, but when they're out, when all 4 loops on that 4-banger loop are out, I'm still then just front to back. I don't go through the jacks and up and out or anything like that. But it does pass through those pedals, so it's something. But I rewired it with good. I had a lot of good cable before, but I used all this lava cable ELC this time. It came out great. And by putting like 2 pedals in each loop, instead of being like, oh, it's just true bypass, so it's fine, I'll leave it
That's
out,
not
out of the
true.
loop.
Yeah, that's not true at all.
Yeah, it's still more path, right? It's still more.
It's
signal
still
path.
4 solder joints.
Correct.
Every time even if it's true bypass.
Right.
All my pedals are true bypass, but when I plug it into I only just got around the other day to plug in my pedal board into the front of yours, and mine's a quarter the size of that.
Yeah.
But it's probably 8 pedals.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
just my palm is so noticeable.
Yeah.
When you
Yes.
plug that in,
Oh,
the
yeah.
signal just goes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is a lot of true
All the chime from the clean channel's just not there.
Right.
Yes.
Well, your guitar's not getting through.
Right.
A lot of the true bypass pedals too have buffers built into them, and it changes your signal. It changes everything around.
Yeah, I've got a buffer on the front of the board, so I am, I'm converted to low impedance right there, and that way, then anything else I do subsequent is less damaging to the tone, even if it's true bypasses or more,
Right.
more loops. But
I feel like I just want to go down to like 3 pedals. I just have a tube screamer.
do it.
And
Yeah.
a clean boost.
You need
Do it.
delay.
You need a
Yeah.
boost, a dirt, an echo,
And some time-based thing. Yeah.
maybe a verb.
Yeah. I have so many. One, because I'm addicted, and two, because
My name's Frank, and I have a problem with pedals.
I like to play around with a bunch of different overdrives. I'm sure that anyone listening to the gig just thinks I got a little overdrive ear.
Yeah.
They have no clue that like that one was different than the other one. Was different than the other one. Was different than the other one.
Obsessed about, like, am I on the right pickup? Am I...
Frank doesn't have
Yeah.
a fuzz on the pedal.
Totally. Nobody cares. Doesn't matter. It's about the artist, right?
Right.
You know, I mean, Picasso. Nobody knew what paintbrush he used either, but it mattered to him, right?
Right.
So I like having all that stuff, but I do take it out, the signal path, so I'm going straight. But the other reason is, in playing with Seymour, I mean, I play a lot of church too, where you got different textures and sounds and stuff like that.
In a really hot room.
Yeah, so I want some different. I want to be able to do different things. Like some of these overdrive pedals, they don't sound great as overdrive pedals, but it's a quick button I can hit to get like way bassier or something. Like just change the sound completely for a certain part of a song.
Like a clean and tone boost. You turn, like, that's why I have my tube strip set.
Yeah.
You turn all the way down, the volume all the way up. It
Right.
Really
Well,
overdrive it.
even
It
like
just shapes that
Right.
sound and gives you a little lift.
Right.
my old Rat pedal, I always kept the drive down.
Did you?
And just the volume up.
Yeah. I have a fake Rat in here. It's the Ibanez Fat Cat, and I got a couple of mods in there. But I do let it be dirty. That's how I use that, is for that crunch thing. But playing with Seymour, you got to give him space. It's kind of like playing with Santana. It's like, let him do his thing, right? So sometimes I'm pretending to be an organ. I'm doing the Leslie thing. Just making sounds that aren't necessarily this amazing sound in and of themselves, but it's got to be super thin to be the rhythm part in the mix, while he's and the other guy are being fat.
It's really easy to forget that, particularly when you're
Yeah.
playing live, is that you're part of the band. You're used to practicing on your own.
Yeah.
Hearing
Right. You got to fit in.
Yeah.
You've got to rein that back.
Yep.
So one of the questions I wanted to get to here, Firebird Bob, I think I saw someone post about this. Maybe it was you. I was reading up older transformers being picky with voltage, and someone came out with a gizmo to knock down the voltage. Yeah, I've seen this thing. I don't know why it's different than a Variac, other than it's packaged really nice. But yeah, old amps were designed for 110 to 114. And now, here in LA, we get 122, 123 out of the wall. And that does change the B plus on the amp dramatically. It usually doesn't hurt the transformer. It will run a little hotter. If you have an old Fender that was built... Howard, we're on the air.
Yeah, type it in the comment window if you're...
Sorry. So, all of my transformers are designed for 120 to 130 volts. That's the range they're happy in for North America. And for the export, they're happy from 230 to 250. So it'll adjust automatically. So, I've seen this box. I can't remember what it's called, but for my old amps, I variac them down. I variac them down to 110, 112.
Right. At that point, you're not really variacing it. It's like you're restoring the original amp design.
Right. That's
it's
what
not
it
a
was.
Trick you're doing.
Right.
Right. To hot rod the overdrive of it.
No.
Like
I'm making it run as it was designed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like an old car getting the right kind of leaded fuel or something.
Exactly. So, but you can go to Radio Shack and buy a little red Variac for $40, and just put a meter on it, or you can spend the one for $70 that has a meter on it,
right?
And just turn it down to 110, and there you go. I've seen this thing, and I've heard long explanations on why it's different, but I couldn't understand why it was different than a Variac, other than it looks a lot better.
I mean, is it regulation or something? Is that part of it? If it's better at regulating the...
No, there's no way it could for that price.
Okay.
I mean, there's not a transformer producing new power in there.
Yeah.
Because regulators, you take whatever's out of the wall, and there's another set of transformers that creates new AC.
Right.
And then auto-regulates it. It's Bill's Studio. We demoing gear today. Well, we're about done.
We're
We're playing the whiskey
Whatever it
and
takes.
showing off the effects loop. And we had other intentions with the show that fell through last minute. Our good friend Tom Abraham had to run back home suddenly for a family emergency. So he's going to be back in 2 weeks. But we do have the new sound up, and hopefully it sounds better. But, yeah, what's the name of that product, Bob? But anyway, yes, if you have, especially imported amps, like if you have, Vox are the worst. If you have an old JMI Vox that you buy from Europe and it's never been plugged in to US voltage, there's a 50-50 chance that transformer is going to melt when you plug it in. And so those, especially the JMI Voxes, you want to variac those down. You know, they're really happy at 105, 110 volts. Because if you put them, there's something that happens. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I documented it like 10 years ago. But what happens is there's something that goes wrong with the relationship inside the winding of that transformer, and it starts drawing amazing amounts of current. And then all the shellac and the packing and the everything in the transformer just melts out. And once that happens, then it will truly overheat.
Is it one of those sounds great for 30 seconds moments?
Yeah. I had two AC30s. I had one of those trapezoid heads that I bought from Music Ground, which should have been my first cue. And I plugged it in, and the transformer lasted like 30 minutes.
Yeah, wow.
And then I had an AC30 top boost that I bought from a guy in Scotland, and he was the original owner. And
Isn't that the one that the Sono is based on?
a little bit, yeah. I pulled from that an AC15. I think AC15 is what you're thinking about. I have a 63 AC15 also, and same thing. I played it for an hour. Like, you know, it showed up, and my band was going to jam over at the shop that night. I'm like, hey, let's play the AC30, and I'm playing and just. You know, I'm like, oh, well, whatever. It'll blow up. I'll fix it.
Right. Yeah, you know.
And then it just went dead. Yeah. You know, like, well, the fuses are fine. I don't know what happened. You know, and then we pulled the chassis out, and there's just goop melted out of the power. The power transformer had lost its stuff.
Yes. Maple syrup.
Yeah, exactly. It looked like melted just glue. You know, like everywhere, because they dip those things in varnish and shellac to, you know, to pot it.
Right.
You know, and for heat, and it absorbed all the heat and then melted. So the effects loop in the whiskey is a Metropolis loop. It's the same one that Metropolis has, but George didn't design it. It's a guy named Steve Miller. So yeah, George Metropolis uses it. Dave Friedman uses it. Dave Friedman uses it. That's easy for me to say.
Right.
And then I uses it.
Friedman's got.
I be using it at. Ma'am.
Freedman's got it. Metropolis
Freeman,
got it.
Freeman begotten it. And George be illin on it. And so, yeah, it's a really good loop. It's a solid state loop. It's FET driven. I think it sounds every bit as good as a tube loop. And that's why those guys use it, you know.
Yeah, it's about transparency at that point, right? I mean, it's like you don't necessarily need some coloration at a loop point, at an entry and exit point. You know, there's times when tube is wrong.
What?
There's times when tube is wrong. That's all I'm saying.
What?
You know?
Let's see.
Yeah.
Is there a big difference between the little
No, it's like
whiskey
saying
and the
there's a
little
time when
Elvis?
2-inch tape is wrong. You know,
I know.
It's like you want to have a sound and you want it to go to Pro Tools. Great. You
Do
know?
everything.
Right?
Turn. Let's see. Is there a big difference between the little whiskey and the little Elvis? Yes. Very different. Very different. Too many to explain, but not much in common at all. Transformers completely different. Circuit completely different, except for the clean sound on the little whiskey. I lifted a little bit from the Elvis, but it doesn't sound like the Elvis because the transformers in the circuit are so dramatically different.
Yeah.
So yes, if you own an Elvis, you need a little whiskey too.
Right. Sorry. There's no, you know.
Oh, I already have that amp. It's called a little Elvis. No, you don't. And the little whiskey has the loop, and it has a master volume instead of the master voltage. Blah, 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 blah. It's a big difference. Firebird Bob says, I need a lot of whiskey. Well, I've got the regular whiskey here, which is louder than dog snot, if you need it.
Like formats are going to do the whiskey in, like, is it going to be a head?
Be the same head as that.
Yeah.
The same head as this, same size. And so it'll be in a 112 combo or a head. Either way. We're just kind of giving up on making 212 combos. Nobody...
Well, I've got one. They weigh a fucking ton.
They weigh a lot, but we just don't sell many
Yeah,
of them
still watching,
anymore.
by the way.
That's all right. They can't see his face. He can say whatever he wants. Sell me on an original London, one going used down Sarf that piqued my interest. The original London's great. Single gain stage, 2 discrete single gain stage channels. One's a Pinto DF86, one's a 12AX7 or ECC83, as you say over there.
Yeah.
And it's really fun. Dark, vintage, warm, woolly, little British bad boy. Sort of like you, Hoss.
Yeah.
Sort of like you.
Now, bear in mind, if it's a used amplifier and you've just received advice from Dan himself, and you do buy that amplifier, I think that means you got to follow in Marco's lead and leave a tip.
Yeah.
Right?
I
know,
just...
know what I mean? That's all I'm saying.
Cap in hand.
Yeah.
What? So, yeah, leave a tip.
It's like commission for your investment.
Well, they just have it here
Exactly.
they just have it here on Namubu, right?
Yeah, I don't know why. They have it because, somebody's up here playing a song or something like
So
that.
now when everybody asks me a question, I'm gonna say,
Yeah.
that'll be $5, please.
Right.
You have your answer for $5.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you all put in a
And
quarter.
a follow-up question is like 10 more because now you're adding on top of the first one.
Yeah, it's
If you
exponential.
didn't get it out
Yeah.
in the first one.
It's a logarithmic
Right.
curve. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you want my tip, dude. Ah, Hoss, get it? You're dirty. Can you say crowdfunding? Yeah, so if every one of you guys just puts in $1.
We can get a note for that.
Yeah. Oh, we can, really more like we can go to TGI Fridays for lunch. Put money in the tip jar to get answers right. I'm like the Swami for money.
Yeah.
A bottle of whiskey.
And you know how I always say, like, I really don't know a lot of tunes?
You don't.
For $5, I'll learn one.
Yeah.
I'll
Well,
come in here,
it-
I'll lay down whatever, your Lizzie Borden, whatever.
I would say if you
weird
want some
song
like
you want.
death metal drop C nightmare stuff, Frank knows every one of those songs.
No, I don't. No, I don't. For $5, I might sit down and learn one,
I'm
but
just saying I'm a terrible like jam guitar player because people are like, oh, let's play this, and I just play like the most famous
Oh.
song in the world. I'm like, shit, what chord?
I can play all that stuff. I'm just playing it in real time.
Right.
Like,
You
I'm
just-
watching you and
just
okay,
reflex.
Yeah, all right, it's
See, that's the
145.
other thing.
Four is probably this.
Yeah, exactly. I can do that. I can play a whole set worth of songs.
If it's 145, yeah, I'll agree.
Even again, even if it's something I have heard.
If I've heard it,
If I've heard it once or twice, right. Right.
oh, it's a 1645.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's fine with that,
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that's the only thing is I'm a catalog of everything from like 1955 to 1975. It's like any song,
Yeah.
maybe close to 80.
Yeah, pro covers band.
I played in a lot of cover bands, but my startup disc is almost full.
Don't play the covers band 'cause it's too much like hard work to learn everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Originals is easy because you can make it up as you go along.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just rewritten this solo.
Yeah.
This part
Oh,
right
this
now.
part's too hard.
Okay.
Out it goes.
Well, I think we should call it a day. So, big thanks to Tom Abraham again. And we'll take a picture of Frank's board and put it up to you. And next week we'll be here. Tom will not be back. Tom will be back in 2 weeks. We're going to make this thing sound so good. We're going to play with different mics and compressors and blah, 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 blah. And we'll do video of it so you can see what we're doing. And we'll need you guys to give us real-time feedback to say better, worse, better, worse. So are you guys all up for that? Yes? Jack, 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 Jack. We will thank Tom for you, Itchy. And, yeah, man. You're going to trust us? Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Went to Bogies in Westlake Village, guitar night. Oh, yeah, John Jorgensen and Carl Verheyen. Oh, my God, those two guys on the same stage? That must have been nuts. Okay. Anyway, thank you, Frank Falbo, Brian Feltham. Sorry it was a weird slapdash show again, but we'll get it all set up. Anyway, fellas, happy Thanksgiving here in the United States. Eat too much, drink too much, sleep too much.
Turkey Genocide Day.
Turkey Genocide Day, that's right.
Hey, they have it coming.
The sad thing is I don't really like turkey, but you cover it with stuff, who cares? Cranberry sauce and gravy and mustard and shoe leather and
Yeah. Well, the trick is you can't get like a good organic one.
pine
You gotta
cones.
get, like-
Oh, yeah.
You got to get the whatever turkey's on sale.
Quick-
because it's been pumped full of like water. The breasts
And
are
salt,
Like,
yeah.
The breastlesses are just
So, quick story about that. So, my wife goes to Gelson's
yeah, right. That's
last
the wrong
night
place to get
a
some
turkey,
straight-
and they had this big, huge. They had big signs everywhere, turkey sales, and she just wanted to get a certain weight. She wasn't paying attention to which one's on sale or not.
Yeah.
And she gets to the counter, and the lady goes, "Are you sure you want this turkey?"
I feel like $300 or something.
No, and Wendy's like, "Yeah, I wanted a 16-pound turkey, and that's the only one you had." She goes, "The other ones are on sale." And she goes, "Oh, I thought they were all on sale. What are the sale ones for?" "They're for like $9."
Yeah.
Right? And she goes, "Well, how much is this one?" She goes, "It's $83."
Yeah, because someone
She went,
read,
yeah,
because
I'll be-
someone read to it.
I'll be right back.
Right.
No, that's probably the only healthy turkey
That's what
in
I'm
the
saying.
whole store.
Right. Somebody
yeah.
read to it. They fed it nicely.
Right.
all
It
the
actually
stuff.
saw sunlight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Buddy.
It actually saw sunlight and ate real food.
Yeah,
and
cuddled while
it wasn't in a
lethal
cage
injection,
with a thing
Right.
stuck down its throat,
Yeah,
force feeding
beef
it.
chopped off.
Down the hill from where my parents' house is, there's a free-range chicken place, and like sometimes free range is free range, right?
Yeah.
It's not in a box, so that therefore it ticks the box
Right.
for free range. These ones are just you look down there, and they're just
Yeah.
chicken all over the valley. Like my parents open the front door sometimes, and there's a chicken
Right.
standing there going.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Do I live here?
Yeah.
It's just like half a mile down the hill.
Yeah. This turkey was read its last rites, like the whole thing. It was very good. Anyway, guys, again, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you everybody for showing up, and we'll see you next week. And we'll be a little more organized, and we're going to sound better. And we're getting there inch by inch. But hopefully, I'll fix this light that broke today, so we don't look like we're in a bordello. And we'll have fun. All right, guys. See you next week. Happy Thanksgiving again. Bye bye.